and then I have I have little mantras that I tell myself, and that dead people don't feel pain, things like that, how lucky we really are to be able to feel pain. It's a response that most people try to shy away from their whole life, but it's a valid emotion, and it's a valid feeling to experience it, and we're very lucky to be able to do so.
Welcome to Flagstaff Bound, a special Cocodona 250 series brought to you by Distance to Empty podcast and Aravaipa Running. I'm Kevin Goldberg, host of the Distance to Empty podcast, where we dive deep into the world of 200-plus mile races, just like Cocodona 250. As always, I'm joined by everyone's favorite co-host, Peter Noyes. Today we've got a guest who needs no introduction in the ultra world, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. Andy Glaze. If you follow ultra running, you know Andy for his 100-mile-a-week streak, his love for suffering, and his ability to make running 200-plus miles look like a casual weekend activity, all with a smile on his face. Andy, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So, Andy, you've run Cocodona before. You are one of the original 5 or 6 streakers who have done the race since year 1. Obviously, I keep coming back to this race as well, year 4 for myself, so I know what keeps drawing me back. But for you, you've got the 1,000-mile buckle. Other than that, what keeps you coming back to Cocodona 250?
Well, like you said, I am one of the streakers, so that keeps me coming back because I want to keep that up. For year 5, Steve promised us all a ring, so I'll get a special ring that I'll wear. That was what we were supposed to get, and then he surprised us with the 1,000-mile buckle this year, so we all got that. That was kind of cool. But in general, it's just such an amazing race and adventure, and the volunteers are so great, and you get to know everybody out there. The course changes a little teeny bit every year, so that's kind of cool too. There's always improvement. Year 1 compared to year 4, very, very different races, and in a way better way. So I'm always excited to see what changes they've made to make it better. And it's just like they say, adventure awaits. It's an adventure, and every year I learn something new about myself. I learn a new trick or tip, or I hang out with a new person, and it's just really just great all around. So.
And then you're known for that 100-mile streak as well. So how do you accomplish that streak with a race like Cocodona that really?
Well, normally during Cocodona week I get 280. It's a 280 week, so that's always nice because then I make a video that says I only ran 280 miles this week, and then everyone's like, "What do you mean? Bad for your knees." But yeah, it's. I try to front load the week before Cocodona. If I have to run 100 miles, I try to kind of front load it so that I do the bigger miles, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then try to cruise a little bit Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I just still have to run 100 miles. I'll probably just run 101 or something like that. So, and then I just continue on afterwards. It's just the week after Cocodona, everything's a little sore than usual, but everything still works. So,
is it easier to manage the streak because Cocodona starts on a Monday versus when you're doing some of the other 200s that start on a Friday, where it kind of goes over the course of I imagine one of them's got to be easier logistically than the other.
Either or. Most races start on a Friday, so I'm going to get 100 miles. I'll still probably run 30 or 40 miles if the race starts on a Friday. So then I really only need 60 miles. So if the race starts on a Friday, I'm pretty sure I'll get 60 miles between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But yeah, they both have their challenges. I don't know. I do a better taper if the race starts on a Friday, because I really will barely run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that can't really happen with Cocodona. So, but when I first did Cocodona, I was doing 200-mile weeks. So I went into Cocodona with a lot of miles. So I don't know. It didn't work out well, but I did it. So
yeah. So now that you've done a number of these things, something that's a recurring theme on all these that we've done is sleep, especially for people that have never done it before. That's usually the thing they're scared about most about these races. So now that you've done so many, is sleep something that you just have dialed in, or is that still a challenge?
I mean, pretty much the same as when I talked to you guys before Leadville. Shout out to that episode of Distance to Empty. Yeah, I'm still not really good with the sleep. Last year's Cocodona, I felt the best about it, and I was like getting close to my goal, but ended up getting like hypothermia, and I was in the med tent for a while. But I think for me, the biggest things that I've changed is like I try not to sleep at the sleep stations. I will go through the aid station, and then if I need to take a nap, I'll just take it like right outside the aid station. I find like if I'm on a dirt nap, um, I will not sleep as long, just inevitably. And I'm my sleep strategy is just like to try to like not sleep as much. Like I can throw in as many naps as I want, but just to keep moving, um, and just try to get the 250 miles done without taking like big like couple hours sleeps. So just kind of like I go until I start to fall asleep, and then I just lay down on the ground, take a 10-20 minute nap, and get up, keep going. And I just keep going until I feel like I have to, take another nap. And then I do. Obviously, easier during the daytime, harder at nighttime, especially like, night 3 is a little dicey. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to probably just kind of stick to that. Last year, I like stayed up for like 51 hours. And that was pretty crazy. I mean, made for good video, but like, yeah, that was a long time to stay awake. So
Yeah, it's wild how many of us with so much experience at this distance still like just cannot figure out sleep, and sometimes it's going so well until it's not. It's a really fickle thing, and it's one of the interesting facets of this distance.
yeah, and I'm getting older, and it's just like it's changing. My like whole everything's changing as I get older. If I was younger, I probably would have run these things with like 30-minute nap, but now it's like as I get older, I'm almost 50, and it's like yeah, it's definitely challenging.
So, another thing we've explored a lot throughout this series is the highs and lows of these races, spending time in that pain cave. We talked to Courtney about her pain cave and what she does in there and how she's remodeled it to work for her. We talked to Dan Green about just avoiding lows altogether. And you have a phrase, smile or you're doing it wrong. So which is really just a kind of another way of rephrasing, like keeping that positive mindset, right?
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
how are you, like when you get deep into that pain cave, how do you handle it, and how do you either make it comfortable enough to stay in there or work your way out of it?
Yeah. I mean, I like to be uncomfortable, and I like to be in pain, and I like to remind myself that the only way to get into that like really really deep pain cave is to run really really far. So it's like it can't be faked, and it's not easily obtained. So if I'm in it currently and I'm like really deep in it, I just like try to remind myself like, well, I mean, there's no way to fake this. Nobody's out here like doing this unless you've run 180 miles or unless you've run 220 miles. Like you earn this pain cave. And I just try to remind myself of the value of earning something that's extremely hard to obtain and that most people in this world will never obtain it. And then I have like, I have little mantras that I tell myself, and like, that dead people don't feel pain, things like that, like how lucky we really are to be able to feel pain. It's a response that most people try to shy away from their whole life. But it's a valid emotion, and it's a valid feeling, to experience it. And we're very lucky to be able to do so. So if you can just lean into it hard, it, it's easier to get through it. I also, once you get to an aid station, the aid stations at Cocodona are so amazing that even if you're experiencing a low, like they're going to get you out of it. So, and I'm like an aid station person where I like come into an aid station. I don't care if I feel like death. Like I'm going to smile. I'm going to joke with everybody. I'm going to like get some good food, and then I'll move on back into the pain cave. So I feel like you take little breaks in an ultra when you get to like that'll be like a little high point and then back into the sufferfest.
Yeah, the volunteers at Cocodona are all like certified pain cave removal
Yeah,
specialists.
yeah, yeah. It's cool too because since I've done it, and I'm sure you feel it too, but like a lot of the volunteers are the same every year. So I've gotten to know a lot of them, and you come into you expect to see them. It's exciting to see them. I only get to see them like, well, maybe I'll see them at Javelina. A lot of times they'll volunteer there too, but it's like seeing old friends.
Yeah, so you have a huge following, and I got to imagine you've inspired, countless runners to embrace, consistency, and with your mantras, find the joy in running. But what's the biggest lesson you hope that they're taking away as they see you do Cocodona?
I mean, when I do my races, it's like I think it's more just like entertainment. I hope they are amused by what's going on. I know when I watch other people and they like clip out their races, it's always just fun to see them go into like crazy mode and everything and see where they're at and all that. So I hope when people watch my races, it's just like entertainment, but also if you're running 250 miles, again that's can be kind of inspiring too to think like, oh, this guy's running 250 miles, I can go run a 5K, or I can get my butt off this couch right now and go run a mile, or whatever their goal is. A lot of times when you look at it as he's running 250 miles, your goal of doing whatever it is probably going to be smaller than that. So hopefully it seems more obtainable. And I think that'll work out. But overall, I hope it's just funny and entertaining to watch me lose my mind and have all these horrible things happen to me, but just have me keep moving through, you know, and then finish. So that's always the goal.
Well, we think you're accomplishing it. And speaking of entertainment in action right now, can you tell us about that shirt? I've ordered one for myself, and that was before I even realized it was like an Andy Glaze collaboration. I just was like, "Well, that's awesome."
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, so last year, all my captions for Cocodona, like the program I was using, like changed it to Coke Donut 250. So as I'm saying, oh, I'm running Cocodona 250, or like as I shot reels while I was out there in real time, like updates, like day two a Cocodona, but then it would say Coke Donut. So it went super viral that it said Coke Donut, and a lot of my videos, got millions and millions of views. So a lot of people related with that and like that. So yeah, Jamil like made the shirt, and then hopefully it sells. I think it's really really funny. But
yeah,
there were some aid stations last year that had Coke and donuts. I will tell you that. So it's good ultra food.
yeah. And if you're wearing the shirt when you get to those aid stations, they'll give you that Coke and donuts for free, guarantee it.
Yes, yes. It's included in the cost of admission.
So, Andy, what's like if you could pick out one moment or memory from the past four Cocodonas that stuck with you the most, what would it be if you had to dial it down to just a single moment?
Um, I mean that's hard because I have 1,000 miles of Cocodona. Um, probably I think year two, mile 200 or so, I stumbled into. I had run most of the first 100 and something miles with Ray Sanchez, who's a good friend of mine, and then I don't know what happened. On 200, you're running with somebody, and then you're not, and I hadn't seen him in like 80 miles or something, and I was 2:30 in the morning. It was like 15 degrees, and I stumbled into the med tent to like get a little sleep and like warm myself up, and I climb into my like little space bivy and I'm getting warm. And then there's somebody next to me. And then all of a sudden, like Ray pops his head up and he's like, "What's going on, Andrew?" And it was like, this is like hilarious experience of us both being in the same place after not seeing each other for 80 miles. Um, I mean, I enjoyed that. I think I have a lot of really cool experiences with people out there, but Ray and I are good friends, and we've raced all over the world together. So that was fun.
Yeah, that's funny. I was with you, I think, heading into Munts Park right before that.
Yeah, I think you were. Yeah, yeah. That was
Yeah, we
that
were
was a
both
cold night. Yeah,
delirious. Yeah,
yeah,
that was cold.
yeah.
All right. So these last set of questions are ones that we've been asking everyone, and it's been really fun to hear the variety of answers. And you with so much experience in Cocodona, this first one should be easy. So, what section of Cocodona are you most looking forward to?
Sedona. I mean, the Sedona section is just amazing. I tell myself every year, you're going to come back and run this on fresh legs. But I never have. Someday I will, though. It's just so beautiful. And yeah, I hope the first year I caught it at nighttime. So I didn't get to see any of it. But all the other years I've caught it during the daytime. And normally I get to like a really scenic spot, like right as the sun's setting. And it's just magical. So Sedona all day.
Yeah, sunset, sunrise in Sedona cannot be beat.
Yeah, it's wow.
Yeah. What about the flip side of that question? Which section is the one that you sort of dread the most each year, or brings the most pain?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easy answer would be like the first 62 miles, but I really think it's going to be coming down off Mingus Mountain. Like, if they could change one thing about that race, it would be the Mingus Mountain descent, which I know on paper everyone's going to look at it and say, oh, it's 17 miles downhill or however many miles it is. That's easy. Well, it's going to take you a real long time, and you'll see why. I haven't met too many people that have done that section and thought to themselves that was easy or that was fun. So,
All right. Next one, another easy one. What shoes are you starting the race in?
I'm going to do Hoka Challengers like I do every year, and I wear the same pair the whole time, and I change my socks and I wash my feet, but I keep the shoes the same.
All right, Andy, what is one outcome from this year's Cocodona 250 that's not tied to finishing, results, placement, time, or anything like that would make you proud of yourself?
See, yeah, you threw in time. I was going to say I've been shooting for a sub 100 the whole time I've done it. Well, so I mean, this year I'm doing Arizona Monster, a couple weeks before, and so this will be the Coco Monster 550 for me. So if I can finish both of these races, I'm gonna be pretty proud of myself. So 550 miles over a couple weeks in those conditions. I'll basically ran most of from Arizona, like Phoenix down to Mexico and Phoenix up to Flagstaff. So that will be a pretty cool achievement if I can pull it off.
I think there's about 20 of you doing both of them. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I haven't done it yet, but it's the plan.
Love it.
All right. And then the last one. So we got a little help from a Chat GPT. We asked it how many steps it's going to take a typical person to get from Black Canyon City to Flagstaff. So do you have a guess?
I'd guess normally mine's like around 517,000, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Nailed it. That's right in the range that ChatGPT says. We've been saying 500,000 steps to Flagstaff, so
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it's 2,000 a mile, but then a couple extra because of all the climbing.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, remember that Cocodona 250 kicks off on Monday, May 5th at 5 a.m. Pacific time. You can catch all the action live on the Mountain Outpost YouTube channel, where the team over at Aravaipa Running will be bringing you nonstop race coverage around the clock. Don't forget to also follow Cocodona 250's social channels. There'll be even more content, behind-the-scenes footage there. I imagine there will be some level of live in-race content on Andy's social media pages as well.
Probably.
I believe that's AM Glaze on Instagram.
That's correct.
And if you like this series, if you've been enjoying it, please give us a listen. Check us out on Apple and Spotify, Distance to Empty podcast. As Andy alluded to, we did our first in-person podcast with him back over the summer in Leadville before the three of us took on the Leadville 100. So check us out, Distance to Empty podcast. We're always churning out 200-plus mile content every week. We'll catch you in Arizona, Andy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. See you guys soon.